Hello everyone, Dev Victoria is here and welcome back to another episode of How Did I Created My First Person Controller. So the next problem we have to solve is how to detect other objects and avoid the collision with them. Please note that I have the collision response to collide, so I am not going to need to manually calculate all the collision events that a character is doing, but I still have to avoid the character going through any object that is facing. So, for example, if I start the game or this app, I should make sure that the character is stops at a cube. But if, let's say, it turns around, it can go now. But then again, I am holding now the S key, so I would move back, but I can't. But I can move forward because in this way I am not going to collide with anything. But here again I would collide with the cube if I would go forward, so I am just stopping my character here. So how can I achieve this behavior? I've created a very simple system called the Move Player system, and I already showed you the first part of this system. Now, what we are interested in this collision handling part. So first, we are going to calculate the distance by multiplying the linear velocity with the delta time. The linear velocity I calculated above as simple is just calculating with the movement direction. I'm going to calculate a new position from that linear velocity. And also I need a rigid transform, which is the position is going to be the new position and the rotation will be the current rotation value. And I need a collider distance input. And also I am going to use this other non-trigger process heat collector because it's going to give me the some other object which is a non-trigger and which is the closest. I talked about this in detail in the Unity tip video about calculating distances. So I highly recommend to check this out. This is the same collector that I used in that video. And for that, obviously, I need the rigid body index for the entity to make sure that we can filter out the distance with ourselves, basically. So now I can call the physics words calculate distance with this other non-trigger cross-test hits collector. And if we find something and that something is closer than the skin width, we are going to stop the character, meaning the linear velocity is going to be 0. This is somewhat naive approach because what we are doing is we are going to calculate where would it be delta time later, basically, and we are using this time dot fixed delta time. But if, let's say, there were some really tiny object in between, then we might go through that still. But I figured that in my project, I don't really need to calculate with that because I don't really have such a situation. and this naive approach could work. So let's see one more time in the player. So if I am moving forward and if I would have got too close, then my character is just going to stop, which is in for my needs, it's absolutely perfect. There is one other thing I would like to achieve here, testing if the triggers would still work because I need this for this project. So I set up 4 triggers, one trigger for each cube, and I created an activated entity data outdoing which tells which cube has to be activated when the character enters this trigger. And each cube has a material which is just a universal render pipeline lit shader, and it has material override asset which overrides the base color. So each cube has this material override script which uses this asset, and also has this active data outdoing which contains an active field which is 0 if it's not active, 1 if it's active, and some information about the activation color. The deactivated color is yellow for each, and the activated color is a bit different for each cube. With this setup, I would like to make sure that my character can activate this cube basically. Yet again, so we've got the collision response to collide, so technically we can use all the normal trigger handling systems that we have here. So first, this activation is going to be happening in 2 steps. First, we are going to have a trigger processing job which is going to activate the active data on the specific cube, and then we are going to have a change to active color system which is just changes the property base color to the activated or deactivated color. But first let's take a look at the trigger activate request system. This is going to handle the activation of the cube. So this is going to happening in the fixed step simulation system group, since we are going to process triggers. And first, what we are going to do is we are going to clear this activate data, setting the active value to 0. And then we are going to create this trigger activate request job, which is going to get the player tag, the activate entity, and the active data components. The player tag is obviously read only. The others are read and write. First, we are going to identify which is the player and which is the other component of the trigger activation. And once we got that, we get the activate entity data, which is an activate entity data type, from the activate entity data group. And we are going to flip the active state to 1 and then write back this active data. So this is very simple and straightforward, and then we are going to have this change to active color system, which is going to receive a URP material property base color, the active data, and the activation color data. So basically what we should do, if the active data active is 1, then we have to assign the URP material property base color value to the activated color. Otherwise, we have to assign the deactivated color. So this is two very simple and very straightforward system, and let's see how this all works. So if I go here, then the cube turns red. If I go here, then this cube turns this pink color. If I go back, then I've got this. Let me just get out of here somehow. Okay, now it's blue, and then let's move forward to this light blue cube. So I think that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and perhaps get some inspiration for your project or learn something from it. And please, if you can, subscribe and leave some comments what you liked, what you didn't like about this video, or what else would like to see on my channel. And see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.